Oh no, sorry. This is.
Is this my one from
This
home?
is for your local machine. So whatever you've set up.
Sorry, you did that.
That's okay. You just timed out.
The meaning what my husband did?
Yeah.
Because
So thank you for that opportunity. One thing that we are trying to incorporate into our district culture here at the district leadership team is goals and accountability to the board. So we set goals and share those with the board, and then we want to schedule some opportunities to be accountable to the board for the goals that we set associated with the strategic plan. Now, some of those goals, are being adjusted to meet present conditions and concerns, opportunities. And so we appreciate the flexibility of the board in allowing us to monitor and adjust those aspirational goals that were set this summer that may need to shift because of a new reality or opportunity. Education is a very dynamic endeavor right now. And so we need to be rigidly flexible in terms of our goals and our opportunities. I will just reiterate the joy that I find in working with this team. They are exceptional individuals of character, of integrity, of passion for education. And they are a joy to work with. They are professional in every aspect of the word. They're committed to their work. And they just do great things, and it is a privilege to work with them. So we are going to go over our strategic plan goals. I'm going to hand a copy of this to each board member so that you can follow along. We prohibited PowerPoints for this presentation, and so it's going to be dialogue, it's going to be conversation. Members of the district leadership team have each taken a bullet point that they will kind of articulate to you where we're at with respect to that goal. And we will try and pause every so often to give you an opportunity to ask questions or seek clarification. If we don't want that, we'll just talk quickly and move on to the next item. No, we will pause as needed to give feedback or receive feedback from the board. So these are broken down into the areas of focus: academic achievement, culture, climate and connection, professional capacity, community engagement, operations, facilities, and resources. And so each one of these have a combination of district leadership team members that work in this area, collaborate with one another, and oversee that. So you'll see various members reporting. And we will start with academic achievement. And Joel, I believe you have the first bullet point.
That's correct. So the first goal in academic achievement is by the end of this year, principals and teachers will be engaged in the strategic plan, setting and achieving student learning goals. And across the board, we are very happy with where we are. We feel that we have been very intentional in aligning the trainings and support that our principals, assistant principals, coaches are all receiving to help lead that work forward in their school. If you've seen the profile sheets, I know some of you have. I know Scott and others have shared those with this group before, but if you want to see, we can make those available. It's where we're able to see the work that's happening in every school as they set and establish priorities, and then they support their teacher teams to set and achieve goals within those priorities. Our next steps at this point are to continue to bring alignment to the training of all those that are supporting this work, and to really support that same group of individuals in helping teacher teams to set and achieve goals that align with school priorities. We're doing well in that area, but we have work to do still. Any questions on that one?
And those profiles are available for us to see, is that right?
Yeah, in the meetings, the minutes to the board from the teaching and learning committee, there's a link to the elementary and the secondary profile pages that go into each school's information.
So look at teaching and learning minutes.
Yeah, and you'll be able to see every school that we have, what their school priorities are, what they're doing with their teacher teams, how they're embracing the work of the current.
I will keep my editorializing to a minimum, but what this does is it strikes that balance between accountability and autonomy. And we're trying with the strategic plan to set some guiding direction, but to give schools and teachers the autonomy to decide their own priorities and goals that are in alignment with the strategic plan. So we don't set teacher goals for them, we don't determine school priorities for them, but we ask that they be in alignment with the district coherence map.
Thank you.
Scott?
Yes, the next one is the key performance indicators, KPIs, will be clearly defined for literacy, next level readiness, and connection. We've begun the process to start identifying those KPIs for each of those areas. The schools are aware of it. They see in the coherence map with literacy, next level readiness, and connection. And right now, we are in the process of working with our schools to make those determinations and move forward with them. So if you think of the profile pages we just mentioned, each of our schools has three priorities they're looking at and working towards. They're setting goals towards those, and they're grappling with the ways to measure. Now, we have some measures we're using, some assessments we're using, but we also want to see what else is there to start developing those that we can start deploying. Once we get those, right now we're pretty wide with the information. As schools keep learning from schools and keep getting better, literacy, for example, when we continue to keep learning, with that wide range now we'll start focusing and start narrowing in. When we start identifying the 3 or 4 to 5 gold standards, if you will, those will become our KPIs that are kind of the district they will be the district direction of how we support those 3 areas in the KPIs, but they're well under development. We're just not there yet, so that'll be one we'll continue into next year to keep moving forward on. But we're very excited at the progress our schools are making, and it's been important for us, for the schools, to have a say in that and to help develop that, so it's not just us saying, here's the following list of things that you have to do from us. These will come from the school level of best practices we can move forward to have those key performance indicators measured for progress for a school. Any thoughts or questions there?
Scott, I have a really quick question. With the KPI, can you give me an example of what you're thinking? Like, is it going to be growth? Is it going to be Acadience data? Is it going to be, phonics? Like, what exactly? I mean, just give me an idea of like a K through 3. What would be a KPI? Just as kind of like give me just an estimate.
Yeah. So there's a couple of like standard looks there. Acadience is one. You have Keep, PEEP. Anything that would measure literacy would be potentially on that list of ways to measure and ways to use as a school. How we use it, that'll start to be determined with the KPI, but yes, if we have a screener, let's say, that comes in for literacy, well, that would be for new students coming in, or if there's some type of measurement that teachers use or something else that comes up. We also have end-of-level testing that I don't like as the gold standard, but it's a measurement that we could possibly pull from. But these are ones we want to use as a school district that we've developed that really measure that piece. So literacy, next level readiness, I can give you a couple. Next level readiness is our schools are really, and the middle schools are really going grade by grade now. So 7th grade, are they credit ready for 8th grade? Are they credit ready for 9th grade? And after they finish 9th grade, are they credit ready? So we call it next level readiness. That would be, I don't want to spoil the surprise, but if a KPI, there would be a next level readiness report coming from our data dashboard, where we are, boy, if we're not there, we're so close. We're just working through some of the data bugs on it, but we're going to run that report 5 times for a school. So at the end of first term, we'll be able to tell a school if they're credit ready for the next term. 2nd term, 3rd term, 4th term. But we have so many interventions that happen over the summertime. We need to run it one more time at 1st of August to see what's been captured for the summer school and that. So that way a school can say, high school, we deliver these kids to you credit ready. And here's a list of kids that aren't. And hopefully in a goal setting point, that becomes like a 95% standard. So less than 5% of our kids are coming to the high school credit deficient. So
have we considered doing dynamics with like our subgroups? Like I'm thinking particularly like with our English language learners, are we looking at WIDA scores, or like with our SPED kids, are we looking at IEP goals?
Correct.
Or like our gifted and talented students, are we setting, I guess, for all of those subgroups where maybe like the standard, they're kind of outside of the norms and they maybe have some special circumstances, are we looking at KPIs for subgroups and tracking that as well?
Yeah, so in each of those areas, we have, so there's 2 different parts of that. You have, so the KPIs itself, when you have literacy is a massive umbrella for all that. And so when you say any of those student groups, we want key measurements in each of those areas. Anything that's easily grabbable as far as, and I say that generously because
Right.
it's not always easy, but when we can grab data like that that's quick, then we need to leverage that and use that and see if that's getting to the point of helping us understand if kids have learned. And if it does that, then it'll be brought in for the greater whole. So yes, I'd say any of those scores, any of those groups are up for grabs, and each of our schools are using those in their priorities right now to help measure that. And that's where the wideness comes in. It's like, how are schools using those to demonstrate effective monitoring measure of students that have learned and are ready for the next level? That
Yeah.
helps.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah, great question.
Okay, data dashboard.
Data
Wait,
dashboard.
wait. Can you give us an example of a KPI for connection? Connection's maybe a little bit harder.
Connection is, the one that comes to mind right now is we're developing a screener that's being piloted with some schools that will help give information to the schools, but it's on a limited group right now, and I'm going to use the word beta testing right now to see if it's getting the results we have. But that would be one that we could give an initial viewpoint of how kids are doing and then make adjustments from there. So that's one, for example. But again, we want to see some of the creativity of the schools of what they're doing. We want to grab those too, because we have a couple schools that if they are starting to really see some good measurements there, we want to learn from that and bring it to the school. Our schools with the profile pages and the focus groups are already learning from each other, and they're taking those types of things on and say, oh, you're doing that, help us understand that, so there's more conversations going on.
So
Thank you.
one of those questions on those assessment could be, I have a relationship or connection with a caring adult in my building. And we do that across the school, and we break that down by subgroups and say, okay, and so the school can say, you know what, our special ed kids or this population doesn't seem as connected, so we're going to set a goal towards that level, increasing the level of connectivity based upon that data point. Or it could be my subject, the material that I learn and study, I'm connected with or I'm engaged in. Those type of connection to one another, connection to the school, connection to a caring adult, connection to content would be things that come out of those surveys that then schools could develop goals based upon their data.
And that's a great point, Superintendent. With those surveys that come out, we'll be able to separate the data, extrapolate it that way, and be able to say from each group to be able to make different determinations. So.
The KPIs are kind of like North Stars, or they are like North Stars, and schools are in the process of building a compass. But as they build that compass of where they're going, they'll start seeing that, oh, you've already got a magnetic north on here. You've got 3 magnetic norths. It's literacy, next level readiness, and connection. So as they start to do their work, it organically moves towards those key directional points that we want them to hit. Okay.
Then the last one is the data dashboard. It's up and running. Principals have access to it right now. All levels have been trained on it, and we're starting to do greater data dives where we're taking a school in particular and saying, one of your priorities is, let's say, a student group of your language learners. We're going to extrapolate the data for that school and then talk about next steps and how they can move that forward. So the data dashboard, super excited about it. It's moving forward. It's going to be good. It's going to be great.
Joel.
Okay, this one, I know this is the kind of numbers that everybody likes, so I have a few of those really quickly for you. This is talking about by the end of the year, schools' literacy pedagogy and intervention systems will be strengthened, specifically through letters training, K-6, as well as training groups of secondary teachers as literacy interventionists as well with the letters program. Here are your numbers. Currently this year, completing the letters training will be 1,656 of our elementary teachers, that's K-6. And next year, completing, so that's the group, and then the group that's finishing, that by the end of this year will finish their first year and will have 1 year remaining, that will be 229 of our teachers. So roughly this year, those numbers relate to about 87% of our elementary teachers, K-6, will be trained at the end of this year with letters training.
Scott, last one in academic achievement.
Yep, PCBL cohort, secondary teachers. there are currently 4 options under this area of training teachers that we're moving forward on. One is a blended teaching model where a teacher can get $300 stipend. We have a learning powered classroom where they get some swag like stickers and things. But this is just empowering. It's empowering teachers to use technology to demonstrate student competency in learning. And so and then the final one is the PCBL grant itself is a vision for learning for next gen schools. So the schools that are secondary schools only for right now, but schools that are 1-to-1, which is all but a few at this point, they have the option of doing this next level readiness for the next gen schools to be trained in how to use technology and how to complete the vision for learning and how to measure the vision for learning. So
Can you remind me the PCBL? What does that mean?
yeah, it's personalized competency based learning. Personalized competency based learning.
Joylyn?
You said there were 4 and I missed one.
Oh, and the last one is a new teacher orientation to give teachers options of technology within our district.
Can I just say that I visited a school today, and they are knocking it out of the park academically, and they are into the details of this work, and when we give the proper supports, students achieve, and this is the framework that we're using, and I just am excited for the future. I think it will work as long as we give them the proper supports that they need, which this principal did definitely need.
There's tons of passion and excitement for the work here to keep training and give people options to get improved. So.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that anecdotal comment. Let's go to culture, climate, and connection. Joel, you have the first one, and then Annalise, you have the next 4.
And on this one, I will be very brief and say, that's what I'm talking about after we get done with this. So the next bullet point is something we'll be discussing.
Okay, Dr. Ruiz.
So Scott already talked a little bit about our culture, climate, and connection survey. This year we have piloted in about 25 of our schools, K-12. The data that's coming back and the reports is really impressive. This data is something that we're going to be able to use to better know students and to better know how to respond to their needs. And so I'm excited about this work, and our hope is that we will continue to expand the number of schools in fiscal year 23 and 24. I'm hoping in the next 2 years or so, this is something that we could implement district-wide. And it'll be built into our data dashboard, so then it'll be readily available to teachers. Okay, the next one. Administrators will demonstrate the leadership capacities of empathy, understanding, and responsiveness when interacting with students, families, staff, and community members. These topics have been embedded in each one of our trainings this entire year. And so we've had a lot of dialogue, scenarios, and conversations, not only at the school level, but also together when we bring principals and assistant principals and understand what does this look like, sound like, feel like, and how do we improve our interactions with students, families, and community members so that they feel heard. And that we could truly say that we're partnering with them in the education of their children.
We felt the need to build capacity in administrators to be able to de-escalate situations and problem solve. And I appreciate the work of those that have been involved with that to be intentional about that capacity building.
And our goal is to continue to embed these topics and efforts into next year. Okay. Next one, educators will understand how to provide each student equitable access to curricular and extracurricular programs. This has been this work is in collaboration. So as a district, we took each of these areas and created smaller committees of department heads and key people that have the expertise to support this work in each of the areas. We have 2 here, Jamie James and Dr. Valerie Thomas. And so each of our areas will encompass different groups of people that are helping us further this work. And so with the access to advanced placement courses, some of the things that they're looking to implement into next year are to be able to provide mini equity labs for high school and their feeders to review and understand their data, brainstorm solutions to barriers for our student populations that are underrepresented, and continue to develop our community school model to offer that wraparound services to all of our students. So again, continuing that implementation into fiscal year 23-24. And that feeds into the last one, which is our community outreach coordinators will understand the role and responsibilities toward engaging communities and increasing partnership in setting the conditions for students to thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. And I feel like we've met this goal with the folks that we have in place, but we'll keep working on continuing implementation into, again, fiscal year 23-24.
Wonderful, thank you. Annalise, any questions on culture, climate, and connection?
We have how many community outreach? Is it, how many do we have
So
now?
right now we have 4 in different, in 4 of our cluster areas, and those are full-time positions, and then we have 5 part-time positions in the Orem area to work with the 1 person that's full-time there. That way we're reaching, we have 3 that are working within clusters, and then 1 with 5 part-time positions that are working in Title I schools, Orem Junior, and Mountain View High School.
Okay. Cami, I think you, Rob, and Scott are up on professional capacity, and you have the first 3.
Yes. So our first goal was that we will have created micro-credential options to improve teacher efficacy. And we've actually decided to put that one on hold for a little bit, unless some of our departments are creating those. But the state right now is developing a lot of micro-credentials, ones that will help with our Apple program, and then ones that are for a lot of the subject areas. So instead of us spending the time creating these micro-credentials, we're going to wait and see what holes are there once we see what the state's creating, and then see if there's anything we need to create. And then the second one deals with a lane change policy to make it easier for micro-credentials to be used. And we are in the process of getting that ready to take to negotiations for this year. Teachers currently can use micro-credentials. We just want to make it a little more explicit and make sure they understand how they can be used.
Cami, can you define micro-credentials? I'm not sure if I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, I don't know. I just can explain them to my best ability, but it's probably not the best description. But they are, so they're not university classes, but they're opportunities to learn, and they're, that teachers can learn, and they'll often turn in like work samples from their own jobs that they're doing. So I believe that some of the ones for some of our endorsements would be the teacher turns in a lesson plan and demonstrates competency in that area, and then they'll earn a micro-credential to show that they met that competency instead of having to instead of taking a university class.
So instead of saying a full semester course that gives you
Yeah.
a credit that allows you to
Sure.
have a lane change credit once you accumulate so many, let's say I don't want to do the full semester course. I want to find ways to say I'm going to cut and paste and take this part of it and get a micro credit, so to speak. And those micro credits add up to credits to allow them to advance. So it's just not a one size fits all with a university credit.
Thank you.
And
And they're
again-
often about the ones we've seen are anywhere from a quarter to a half of a credit. Sorry, Ada, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so again, the state is going to kind of solidify what that actually will look like. Okay.
They release new ones every week. They're just kind of rolling out, and they're very comparable to university coursework if you get in and start working through them. It's not just like just a lesson plan. There's a lot of deep diving on it.
Right.
And the intention of that was just to facilitate opportunities for our teachers to increase capacity without going through the traditional university credit approach.
Thank you. And then our third one is having a plan in place to attract and retain high-quality educators, particularly from diverse backgrounds. So there's a few things that we are looking at for this year. Our main plan for this year is to look and see what's available and start participating when we can. And then next year we hope to widen that. So one thing that we are doing for our classified employees is we are having an Alpine School District job fair. Thank you, Stacy.
That's Laura Jensen for you.
We are doing that this in February and again in the fall. We'll have all our departments as well as ESS here and let people know what kinds of job opportunities are available for classified employees in Alpine. And then with our teachers and administrators, we are connected with an organization, and the acronym is ALICE, and I don't remember what it stands for.
It's the Association of Latino Superintendents and Administrators.
Thank you.
Or administrators, superintendents, sorry.
And we are connected with them, so we hope to join with a couple of their recruiting opportunities this year. There also is a recruiting fair that's virtual, sponsored by the publication Education Week. And we plan to participate in that in March. It's very expensive, so we are going to try it once and see how it happens, how it works. There's also things, for example, we got one from USC today, an opportunity to participate in their virtual recruiting fair, and it's free. So we plan on doing that the end of March, beginning of April. And then we're also looking at some other recruiting opportunities to help us target some diversity.
Any questions for Cami? Okay, Rob.
Thank you, Superintendent. This board and prior boards have invested heavily in teacher salaries. This goal, you are well on your way to achieve a starting salary of $60,000 for teachers with a bachelor's degree. Here are some fun facts for you. Teacher's salary, bachelor's degree, the low or the base would be $50,085. Our goal 2 years ago was to hit $50,000. You hit it this year. The high is $118,941 for a teacher with a doctorate degree and 27 years experience. That provides a range of 2x plus. That is a good range for a professional expectation of quality teaching in Alpine School District.
Can you repeat that second
I will
number?
repeat all of these for you. The second number, the high, is 118,941. And that's lane 9, doctorate degree, step 27. Couple other pieces. So $50,085, 118,941 is your range. Your average teacher salary for the current year is $70,540. That is significantly higher than last year's salary, almost $8,000 difference. And your percentage increase in the salary schedule from FY22 to FY23 ranged from 9.16 to 19.14%. You set an 8-hour day expectation. You changed your funding ratio slightly. Your secondary is on the same scale, and that's what caused that range, but significant investment in teacher salaries. Congratulations.
So you said the average was 70,000.
70,540. And that's salary, and that's prior to addenda, extended contract, additional responsibilities, stipends, coaching, etc.
And we will go in, where legislative session is in full bloom, and we will see what that brings and then go through the negotiation process as well. Okay, thank you, Rob. Scott, leadership development, and then Cami, grow your own.
Yeah, the aligned vision for leadership development and pipeline is we've begun the work and moving forward on it with research and best practice to try to make sure we bring all best practices into what we want to do. We're getting feedback from I'm getting feedback from various groups, talking through what they want, what they expect. But the pipeline, in a quick summary, is talking about how to prepare our leaders to become leaders, train them to be better leaders, and then help them understand how to be prepared for future opportunities that are coming in. And so if we're looking at that, we've completed already the supervisor essentials. So supervisors have a clear indication of what their job responsibilities are, what the needed requirements for their job are. We're starting to work on doing the same for principals and assistant principals. So there's clear essential functions of the job to be able to align that work with. And then we've also talked about how to get to align and build support for many ways we are training our people too. So we've got onboarding with new people coming in. There's a certain way to do things, and we want to create the Alpine way, if you will, of how to operate that allows for enough creativity but consistency within our organization to be able to find success and find joy in the work, but also be consistent. So when reports are needed or training is needed, we have consistent conversations that are moving forward. But we want to also balance all those things out with the research with what our current practices are that we're very proud of and very excited about, such as the coherence map, the 7 tied essentials, and the work that schools are doing. So we're trying to align best practice with the current realities and train our people so they just find joy and excitement at the work, but also know what the expectations are so we keep improving from top to bottom.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, we have one more in professional capacity. Craig, on the back of that first page. You are our goal. Oh, Cami, grow your own. Sorry.
Grow your own real fast.
No,
so
I
the
apologize.
Grow Your Own program, the purpose is to take employees that are already working for us who are in aid positions and then encourage them and help them become teachers, and then we hire them in our school district. The research out there has shown that this is one of the best ways to increase diversity as well as teacher candidates that stay, because they're also invested in the community and your school. So our plan is to increase the number of candidates first, and then see the state funds these right now. So until the state won't fund enough of our people, our plan is just to expand the number of people we offer this to. Once they'll stop funding our people, then we are going to look at other funding options to be able to increase the number of people in our program.
I apologize for
Well, you're fine.
And again, that's through training and.
So it's a good question. So what the state does is they provide the money to pay for things like tuition. We provide a mentor, so they have to be working for us. And then we provide someone for them to check in with and interact with, but then the candidate does need to go through a university program and get that certification. So we just, in a very light way, support them through the program.
And is that a total tuition payment or is it partial?
They can get, I can't remember the numbers right now, up to $10,000 a year from the state. So it just covers.
It's a partial.
Thank you.
Okay. Craig, you are our goal.
Yes.
Oh.
So I've been hired. Now it's about successfully utilizing. But I just wanted to let you know some of the things that I'm doing, and myself and Naomi as the legal department. One of the things that we did very early on was try and meet with all the different directors that we would support and find out how we can support them. And so I met with this group, DLT, as well as some other directors of student services, special ed, to see what support they needed. And so we've been working with them. A lot of this actually ties back into my responsibility with the policy committee. So there's certain policies, whether it's with Annalise or Cami and HR, that we need to revise and redo, and so those are some things that we have on our schedule to work towards. Naomi, my paralegal, and I, so that was one of my goals, to hire a paralegal. That's been accomplished as well. And now Naomi and I have started talking about maybe what I can call the 3 Ps. What is our purpose? What are our priorities based on that purpose? And then what practices can we put in place to meet those priorities and that purpose? So we're going to work together, her and I, to come up with those things, kind of almost like a mission statement or a purpose statement, and what is it that we want to accomplish together. And then some of the things that we're already working on and doing is trying to set up some policy norms with our committee, try and make that as efficient and get as much policy work done as we can. There will be some things that we'll be taking off of Rob's plate over the next few months, some that we've started doing, and we want to kind of finish effectuating that over the next few months and by the end of the year. And then we have some professional development things set up, so I'll be attending the COSA conference here in the spring, hoping to get even more up to date on what education law topics are out there. And Naomi will be working towards a paralegal certificate over the next year or so, so that she can be more effective in supporting me and supporting the district. So those are some of the things that we've been doing and that we're doing, so that hopefully we're effective in utilizing my position, not just hiring my position.
Craig has been a great addition to our team. It was fun to see when we first put legal counsel in place. Everyone jumped on legal counsel to say, solve my problems. And we transitioned through that process, and said, I'm here to give counsel. You're still the educational expert. I am the legal support for that. And so we renormed that and got that work through, and it's been a great transition. So we're grateful to have him on our team. And he's quickly learning the nomenclature, the norms, the work of the educational world, and appreciate his desire to increase his capacity and be a full participant in the team. So thank you, Craig. Okay, David, no one wanted to share with you, so you get the whole community engagement, all four of them.
All four bullet points.
Okay.
Well, fortunately, we had our board communications committee this morning. We were able to briefly review through some of these items. Mark, Sarah, and Sarah serve on that committee, and just appreciate their work to help guide us with community engagement. That first bullet, we want to better understand the experiences and engagement of students, employees, and parents through various feedback formats. One thing that we're looking forward to doing this spring, we already have it scheduled, April 12th, we're going to bring some focus groups in of students. And probably 2 high school students from each high school will be in, or 3 from each high school at one session, a couple from each junior high at another session, and just work through what matters to them, and just have the opportunity to hear from students in a focus group there. Obviously, we held various meetings with the bond information meetings and so forth. Superintendent is very active in holding meetings with listening groups, with cluster meetings, and so forth. So we just want to continue to support that. Surveys. We have the potential to do a trifecta this spring, which would be a satisfaction survey, a calendar survey, and a bond response survey. Kind of gather some information from patrons as to why they did not vote for the bond, and use that information for potential help as we look towards a future bond. And we discussed that in our meeting, like I say this morning, just some good feedback that we could get from a survey there. Engaging the community with a variety of communications. Website. So I have a few little points of data here that I'd like to share. First of all, the website, we actually can run statistics every minute that we want to on our website. As of today, we had 33,308 views on our website. Just today, yep. Oh. We had 8,214 people go to our homepage, 1,085 people to district calendars, 493 people to employment, and 343 people to registration and enrollment. The highest month that we've had is August. Obviously, you're probably wanting to get information about the new school year. We had 1,241,600 hits. And all time on our website is 41,061,955. So we have a busy website. And sometimes when we have a potential 2-hour delay, it shuts right down because everyone's trying to log on at the same time. But that has been fixed, and appreciate Blaine and his team and the work that they've done to mitigate that. The app, we rolled out a new app. We have 1,369 people who have downloaded the app. We haven't really marketed the app a lot, and we did that on purpose. We wanted to make sure it was working really well, and so I think over the next few months we really want to put that out there and encourage parents to download the app. It just gives a nice view of grades and attendance. It has all of the schools. You can click on a button, go to a school, you can click and it'll call. You can click on the map and you can get directions to the school. So just looking forward to the potential with our app. Media and broadcasting. I don't know why we call it broadcasting, because we call it Connect with Alpine Videocast with the superintendent. As you know, we've done those weekly. We've completed 19 videocasts, and it's just inspiring to see the wonderful things that are happening out in our schools, and it's just another way to share that out. Feedback button. Okay, I know you want an update on the feedback button. Since July 1st, we have received 672 individual feedback responses. So appreciate Karen and Phyllis in the office. They, within 24 hours, respond or forward that to the entity that would be best to take care of whatever that feedback is. And some of them are positive, happy comments, so we appreciate people who use it for whatever reason they see fit. Okay, social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and what's the other one that we have? LinkedIn, yes. So far, with all of those social media platforms, we have posted 369 posts. So just exciting to get those out there. Sometimes some might think, well, we only use Facebook or we only use whatever, but we have to try to reach out to where our people are watching for us, and some of those people are on LinkedIn. Who knew? Okay, other regular communications. We've changed All About Alpine somewhat. Last year we did it monthly. Some issues were close to 40, 42 pages long, and I don't think most people read those. So we've revamped All About Alpine this year. It's 4 pages. We limit it to 4 pages, and we do it twice a month. And we're able to also, one of the reasons why we limit it to 4 pages is because of Peach Jar, which only allows 4 pages. But I was concerned at the beginning. Now I understand why Peach Jar limits it to 4 pages, so that people will actually read those messages. Speaking of Peach Jar, that is new this year. We have quite a few schools using it. We are not requiring schools to use it if they have another way of communicating, but we have, let's see, Peach Jar, 540 flyers have gone out this year through Peach Jar. And just so you know, that can save 10 million sheets of paper and save 1,179 trees. That's Peach Jar likes to put that at the top of the little page as far as savings. And it's another means electronically to connect with parents. Okay, community report is one other mode of communication we use. We're currently developing our community report for this year. I will just put one in each of your seats in the boardroom so you can look through it. It is a draft, it's not completed yet, but if you have any feedback, we would love to hear from you as far as feedback goes there. Okay, third bullet, bond election, develop and share information about the district capital campaign or plan. Obviously, as the bond did not pass, we've had to kind of revamp where we're headed there. We have as you know, on December 8th, the district boundary study. We've met twice now with a large group in that boundary study, and in the regular board meeting I'll share some more information along with the information about the boundaries for the new elementary schools. Okay, what did I miss? The last one, we talked about peach jar. I think, yeah, we've been emailing parents directly a couple of times a month, just so that we are reaching them more regularly. One thing we want to work on and improving with that is it's pretty vanilla, you know, just the topics with some links. We want to see if we can develop some kind of program. I know MailChimp has a program where you can actually put pictures and videos and different links in the email. So we want to see how that could work with our student information system to get those emailed out. So we're working towards that. Yeah. What questions, comments?
Okay. Seeing none, we'll go to operations, facilities, and resources. Kimberly, you have the first bullet.
I appreciate being able to follow tree saving, over 1 million analytic pushes daily, and also trifectas. Thank you. That was awesome. Okay, so in the land of operations, I also want to say Craig was too shy to say this, and so was Shane. He is in the associate's program right now. He's almost a full associate, which we're excited about because that's that foundational understanding really of the purpose of public education.
Good.
We've got, we
That's
believe, an opportunity to have Stacy and Joy Lynn join us next year for associates. I hope that that continues in your planning, but yeah. You're an associate trainee right now. Okay, I'll start on mine right now. Okay, so here we go. Part of our lens with operation facilities and programs, it really is coupled with our learning programs and services that we provide to all of our students. Annalise and I have really coupled up on this particular one because we want to make sure that as we are looking at all of the services, programs, schools, boundaries, enrollments, that we're making sure that we are equitably distributing them throughout. So you'll see on bullet number 1, it was to grow our special services. So as part of our pivot from what do we do now that we did not pass the bond, we still have the same needs that we have, but it gave us an opportunity to dive deeper into our needs and really bring this piece of our goal setting into focus. So we're not only focused on adding and growing these special services, but we're looking at our DLI programs, we're looking at our gifted programs, also things like DLI, did I already say DLI? Special services, all of those things. So you'll hear a little bit about that. We'll be able to give you more of a summary at the work session portion and then a formal recommend a little bit later. But as David mentions, we've had two to 3 hour meetings, so almost 5 hours together as a think tank that will, once we feel good about where we're at and you guys have seen kind of the summary of our work, it'll then be parted out into clearly David's work with schools, with parent leadership, with principals, supervisors, employees, and we look at that now at a real micro level. So right now we're big picture, district-wide study organized, and then we'll make some recommendations to part things out.
Is CTE part of that also?
CTE, yes, but we've only engaged in elementary study at this point.
Okay.
Our part 2 is the junior high school. CTE will come into play at that point. We'll also have some of our small group, not some, but we'll be looking at where do we have all of our small group placements throughout the district to secondary. So good, yes, on that. Is Rob going next?
Yeah, you want me to go next? Can I display something? Is that okay?
As long as it's not PowerPoints.
It is not. It's a PDF. How about that? So scaling. Huge, major change. One of the things that we are taking in the budget process is adding a